Welcome to another episode of the Dynamic Chiropractic Podcast, where I'm joined today with the one and only Dr. Tom Waller. Again, thank you for joining us today. How you doing?
Jack, it's great to be here. I'm really excited to be on your podcast, which I know you've got a lot of enthusiasm for. It's fresh, it's new, and it's definitely changing more lives than you probably realise.
I hope so. Tom, everyone has a chiropractic story. What is yours?
Good question. Most chiropractors answer this with some crazy story of how they ended up in a car crash,
Okay.
lost the sense of smell, and went blind in one eye, and then suddenly their lives were changed. It's not my story. My story is I was chasing a career in the military, and my mum suggested that maybe I wanted to be a chiropractor.
Right.
So I kind of did both at the same time, and I ended up diving headfirst into chiropractic. And fell in love with it. My story within chiropractic gets a little bit more interesting in the sense that I went through college very much towing the party line, doing what the powers that be would say, and not really exploring what the true element of chiropractic is. And then through boredom and also seeing some amazing miracles in practice, I changed my paradigm, I changed my thinking, and I really embraced what true chiropractic is, and it's taken me to where I am today in my practice life.
Amazing. I love that. I know you do. I know you do a lot of mentorship. Um, how important is it for or anyone, not just chiropractors, but if we keep it specific to the profession, how important is it for an individual to have a mentor going through clinic or practice?
Yeah, well, it's whether you know it or not, you have a mentor. Like we learn from people all the time, and you can be learning the right thing or you can be learning the wrong thing. And I suppose if the person listening has got any inclination to improve themselves, do better, and serve other people better, and essentially be a better chiropractor, then they need a mentor. A mentor is going to help them see their blind spots. A mentor is going to help them see their flaws, and a mentor is going to help them to get to the level of success that they want to achieve in a much shorter space of time. I think oftentimes people join with mentors or join groups because they want to feel good, and they join groups that make them feel good. But you look at them and they're not really changing. It's the same as people go to the gym and they hire a personal trainer to cheer them on and make them feel good. But you look at them in 12 months' time and they're in the same place they were when they started in the gym. So I think true mentorship is what people really need. And that is someone who is going to help them define the success that they really want and then hold them accountable to getting to that in a faster pace with less mistakes than they would have done anyway. It's not someone who's going to take all the work away, but I think by nature of anyone who's listening to this podcast, they want to improve themselves. So I think mentorship is essential for everybody. But you already, by virtue, have one, whether you've chosen it or not.
It's very true. I never thought about that. It's interesting because I don't know if you or seen the stats on this, but the dropout rate for chiropractors, after they finished education, I think it's close to like 50% or something after 3 to 5 years, and I generally feel that a part of it is due to the fact that those individuals don't have mentors or didn't have the right mentor in order to keep on progressing and actually fall in love with the profession that they studied so hard to be in. So I guess my question is, what should someone look out for in terms of a mentor?
I think it's a brilliant stat, and I want to put some context to that. So
Yeah, please do.
you take something that people would think was in no way means related, something like postnatal depression. Often comes around because the perception of the event that you're working towards is that it's going to be an amazing experience in comparison to the journey towards that event. And what often happens in postnatal depression is people are enjoying necessarily the journey, but then the event when it happens doesn't match the expectation. and they take a drop down. Now, we see this when people are studying, and I think one of the faults of the dropout rate is not necessarily the individual or the lack of mentors outside. It starts in the college. It starts with these students thinking that they're going to graduate straight into a job that earns £100,000 a year without having to work, and that people are just going to come in to see them. And they've been told how good and great they are all the way along their chiropractic journey, to suddenly end up in the real world and go, oh shit, this doesn't quite match up. And I think it is incumbent upon the tutors at the college and the colleges to change the way they do that. But if they can't, then I think the students should find a mentor even before they graduate. And one of the things I've done is I've created a membership style program, which is a lower tier of the membership that I do, compared to my sort of more exclusive stuff, to help with that. But that's by the by. In terms of looking for a mentor, I think you need to choose someone, first and foremost, who has achieved what it is that you want to achieve.
Of course. Yeah.
I think we are surrounded by such a social media world where you have 19-year-old life coaches who literally haven't even lived life yet, who are telling you what to do. Yeah. So if you are looking to have a practice that has multiple associates and employs a real team and has structure, then I wouldn't suggest that you're getting mentorship from someone who is in solo practice seeing high volume, because it doesn't match up to your vision of reality. Yeah. So think about what it is that you want to achieve, find someone who is doing that, and then ask them if they'll hold you accountable, and highlight your flaws as well as finding your success.
That is an amazing answer, and one that I can't fault, can't disagree with. Yeah, I think it's incredibly important to have, I guess, have that good connection with a mentor, which, like you said, can pick out your flaws and help you keep on progressing.
I mean, on that token, I've had mentors for my, since I started having mentorship and coaches probably about 10 years ago. And there's a couple that I've used several times. I've been away and come back to. I've been coached inside and outside the profession. I always have about 2 coaches at any time. I have 2 business coaches who run sort of billion-dollar industries over in the States. They help me with my business. And then I have a really great chiropractic coach who helps me with my practice and more also emotionally inside of that work too.
Wow, really. I hope to get to that one day. So that'd be really cool. Thank you. Obviously, one subject I wanted to touch on was philosophy. What is your own philosophy around chiropractic and overall work ethic as well?
Cool. So philosophy is something that is poo-pooed and misunderstood quite a lot. Philosophy simply means the search of wisdom. It simply means to ask questions and find out what's going on. Now, chiropractic is a philosophy, science, and art of things natural. So I don't have a philosophy for chiropractic. It has its own philosophy, which is a philosophy, science, and art of things natural. So it's a natural approach to the world. So my view on chiropractic is what chiropractic is, a natural approach to the world. Chiropractic has an a priori, which means it has a statement of which it recognizes to be true, and then everything is based off that. And that a priori is that there is a universal intelligence in all matter that continuously gives to it all its properties and actions, thus maintaining it in existence. Essentially, there is something keeping this world in order that we can't necessarily explain. In the simplest form, the human body is designed to be well. We should trust that.
Yeah.
And as a chiropractor, we do everything we can to remove any interference, be it physical, chemical, or emotional, from that body, healing itself. So that is the philosophy of chiropractic, and that is what I choose. It's just like saying, I choose to play rugby, therefore I play the rules of rugby. I'm not going to come onto the rugby pitch with a tennis racket and say, guys, we're going to do this all very differently,
Yeah.
because that would be changing the game. And if someone has a philosophy that isn't what I've just said, I would contend they're not practicing chiropractic. And that's fine, but don't call it chiropractic.
Right.
So that is my philosophy on chiropractic, and what chiropractic is. And I didn't come up with that. I didn't define that. I just choose to play that game. My philosophy on work ethic is you get out what you put in. And I've learned over the years, through trial and error and through serious illness, that the hustle and grind mindset doesn't really work. A lot of people look at me and think, wow, he's definitely hustling and grinding. He's up at 4:30 in the morning and straight to work. They don't see me going to bed at 9 o'clock at night. My attitude is, with work ethic, success is simple. It's just not that easy. And the reason it's simple is you need to define what you want to do and then take an action step every single day to move towards it. And you'll get there.
Yeah.
But a lot of people will, A, not define what success is and therefore have no idea where they're going. And B, they'll take action a couple of days, but then I'll have a day off. It's a weekend. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And I'm not talking about working hours every day. I'm talking about just doing one thing every day consistently that will predictably move you forwards.
What is it? Obviously, and if you're taking action every day, what action do you have a different action every day, or is it the same? Do you work on the same one every day?
Great point. So I work on three main things every day. I work on my relationships, my health, my businesses. So I have to do one thing from each of those every day. So it's 3 actions minimum that I have to take every day. So I have to do something every day for my relationship. I have to do something every day for my health, and something every day for my businesses. So that would look like spending a bit of time with my wife. It might look like calling my parents and having a conversation with them, spending time with my family. For my health, it would be exercise. Non-negotiable for me is exercise every single day, and eating well. And then for my businesses, most of us have what's known as a to-do list, essentially a list that never ends of things we need to complete.
Yeah.
That never moves anybody forwards. It just frustrates the hell out of everybody. From that to-do list, you'll have things in there that will predictably move you or your business forwards. I take them off the to-do list and put them onto what I call a playlist every day. Well, I do this at the beginning of the week, so it's planned for the week. So there will be an action in there every day that will predictably move me forwards. And they're the action steps that I just take every day. And people say, well, how did you do that in that space of time? Well,
Yeah.
I didn't do it in that short space of time. I did it in all that time before,
Yeah.
but I just kept doing it.
It's just that repeated actions of making sure they're propelling you forward.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned just a minute ago. You mentioned illness. Do you mind me asking about that? Are you happy to share that? Is that?
I'm very happy to share that. I've shared it before.
Yeah, great. Yeah, great.
So one of the reasons I really got into coaching and really got into helping people with the practices is, and I'll make a long story short. Several years ago, if you'd looked at my life, a lot of people said I was very successful from the view outside. I was flying all around the world to speak. I had a practice that was absolutely thriving. I was on the board of National Association, regular expert on radio stations, and it just from the outside looked like this amazing success. But on the inside, something wasn't right. I started to bleed every time I went to the bathroom. I ended up with pre-cancer in the bowel, and essentially it was the universe's way of saying something's not right. You're being quite incongruent here. And I essentially wasn't living up to the life that I wanted. I was trying to prove something for everybody else's dream. And in self-inspection, I decided what I wanted, who I truly was, and what I wanted to achieve. And then I went for that. And since going for that, I've I've blown all the measures of, air quotes for those who aren't watching on YouTube, all the measures of success out the water. And I believe in a much higher level of my life, and I'm still nowhere near where I want to be, but in a way that's serving me, my health, and my family.
I love that. I'm glad you're healthy now. So that's which is important.
So am I, my friend.
Yeah,
So am
it's nothing without your health. So,
Mm-hmm.
what does so I mean, with the continuation of your daily actions, what does your future look like? What do you want out of the chiropractic profession? Where do you see yourself going?
I want to positively impact over 1 billion people with chiropractic.
Awesome.
It's a big task, but
Yeah.
it's me influencing 1,000 people who would influence
Yeah.
1,000 people who would then influence another 1,000 people. So it is achievable.
Awesome. Yeah.
So my vision in terms of chiropractic is I have a thing for sticking up for the little guy. I hate to see when someone's picked on. I hate to see when someone's struggling, and I hate to see someone not achieving, which I think got me to the level of success that I had when it was just me solo in practice before my associates came on board. But the impact that I want to see with chiropractic, I can't do that on my own, or even just with my associates. So my goal now is to coach, train, and empower chiropractors to have that for themselves in their practices and have that ripple effect in the future. So the future for me within chiropractic would be to help, over 1 billion people have improved services and improved lives with chiropractic.
That's amazing. I love that. I'll gladly join you on that mission. So,
Well, your podcast is doing that, my
awesome.
friend.
Thank you.
So I
All
appreciate
right.
you for that.
Cool. Thank you. Well, I guess a lot of that you hold so much certainty and belief in what you do. Um, how can other people build upon that themselves? Because there's so many people that I talk to, and uh, not just chiropractors, but other people. They just don't have this self belief that they're not able to achieve where they want to go and what they want to do, etc. But I guess this is more again from a chiropractic standpoint. How can a chiropractor go about developing those beliefs?
Good question. So 2 answers, and I'm trying to remember to give you both
Yeah,
answers.
sure, go for it.
Belief and confidence is not something that you're born with. It's something that you cultivate. Uh, I, when I went through school, I was fortunate enough to go to a very good school, but that meant that I was actually the run to the litter in that school, essentially, and my confidence was 0. And you have to earn your confidence and build your confidence over time. Your confidence comes from keeping the promises to yourself first, not from the reflections outside. They say life is not a window, it's a mirror. It's essentially what you are looking at and who you are. It's not the world outside you. This confidence comes from self-integrity, and this is keeping the promises to yourself. The first thing you need to do is you need to inspect who you are, what your values are, what is it that you stand for, what is it that you believe in, and you know to be true for you. And holding yourself to that character. Now, some people, a simple example, I gave this on my podcast the other day. Like, I have a value for excellence, and I have a value for initiative and responsibility. So I was in the gym the other morning, and I went into the bathroom, and it was a state before I'd even used it. Now, I could have just gone in and used that bathroom and left, but I went in that bathroom and I cleaned the freaking thing before I used it and after I'd used it.
Fair
The
play.
bog brush, somebody else's mess, the bathroom
Yeah.
cleaned, because I have a standard. Now, that's been cultivated over time. If I'd gone into that bathroom going, I'll leave it for somebody else and left, I've broken my standard. I've broken that promise that I have with myself to maintain high levels. Now, the same could be simple for you. Like, you could have a standard of where, we talked about earlier, chiropractic philosophy, science, and art, things natural. We know what's natural, we know what's good for the health of our body. And we say, this week I'm going to eat healthy. And Tuesday comes and suddenly you have something unhealthy. And you've broken that little promise that you set to yourself. And every time you break that little promise, you erode your confidence. Your confidence has to be built over time. Now, in chiropractic, the adjustment courses that I run, I call it adjusting skills and certainty because you have to have certainty first for confidence. So it's really understanding what you do when you adjust somebody. You're not just pushing bones and manipulating people and making noises. You have to really understand what you're doing. And if you understand what you're doing, then you breed a level of certainty with it. That certainty creates confidence in you, which breeds this competence in your patients, and therefore your patients end up staying with you for a lifetime. But it all comes back with you taking the time to really know what it is that you're doing, and in the true essence of it being a practice, you are maintaining that practice on your journey through your professional life.
Well, that was one hell of an answer. I love that. It's great to get the perspective from someone else, because you never know what sort of actions you take until you're actually completely self-aware of what you're doing. And like you said, if you're breaking those little promises to yourself, then naturally you're just going to be chipping away at your own confidence. And I'm guessing that's going to then portray in so many different other areas of your life as well.
Well,
And
it is. Your confidence is going to be eroded.
yeah,
The incongruence is going to be glaring. Destruction will breed in your life, and you'll wonder why you're going in such a bad place. It's because that little decision you made a while ago.
yeah,
A simple way you can self-reflect is you can set an intention for the week, and each evening you can say to yourself or write down, what did I do good today? What did I not do so good today? And what could I improve tomorrow? And then you have Pearson's law, which is a law in business that what gets measured gets managed, and what gets measured, managed, and reported on improves exponentially. And what that means is things are only going to improve if you measure them and report on them. Because it's so easy for you to do something, maybe break your promise and have a cake, and never check in with yourself about doing it. You just carry on to the next day.
yeah.
And you never really go, what did I do today? Did I do the right thing? Could I improve?
How would you, in terms of Pearson's law, how would you relate that to chiropractic?
In chiropractic in
So like
business
for
or
yeah,
chiropractic
or like
in
yeah, so for practice.
for practice? Simple.
Yeah.
So for a practice should be having weekly meetings, monthly meetings, quarterly meetings, and annual meetings. And below that, they should also be having daily pre and post shifts, which means they should be reporting on stuff all the time. So your pre and post shifts would be, this is what's coming today. Are we aware of that? Are we ready to manage that? Post shift, at the end of the shift, what happened today? Is there anything we need to report on so we get better next time? Every week, you should have, how many did you see last week? How many did you see this week? How many you predicted to see next week, the one after, and the one after? So you've got something that you manage. What was your ROF conversion this week? What's your PVA? What's your booking rate? How many people booked up to the pro exam? How many people took plans? How many Google reviews were done? And first visit phone calls made. So all of these stats should be reported on every single week, because people are like, oh, I don't know why my numbers have dropped. Well, how would you know if you haven't done the stats? And it's super important. I just did a call with my coaching group about financials as well, and reporting on financials. A lot of chiropractors set up a practice and they go, well, they charge £50 an adjustment, so I'll charge £50 an adjustment. But then they have no idea what their fixed costs are, what their variable costs are, and they wonder why this guy's charging £50 down the road and driving an Aston Martin, and he's charging £50 here and got no money to show for it. Because there's no level of accountability, reporting, and progress.
I hope everyone who's listening actually has a pen and paper and have wrote all that down so they
I have a tendency to speak a little bit
yeah,
fast, I'm
yeah,
afraid.
so or at least pause it, rewind, make sure you write all that stuff down so you can actually keep on top of everything moving forward. That is absolutely great advice. Thank you. Education is a big one, obviously not through just going through chiropractic and obviously for ourselves, but how do you go about educating your patients on the importance of obviously getting adjusted as well as living sort of like a healthier lifestyle?
Cool. I love this question because I answer it in a way that chiropractors don't want to hear.
Oh, sure.
No patient has ever come to see a chiropractor for chiropractic. No patient has ever come to see a chiropractor for chiropractic. And what I mean by that is you as a chiropractor, whether you're an associate or you own a practice, you are a business. You're a business because you're serving a customer. And businesses exist for one reason and one reason only. And it's not to make money. Businesses exist to solve the problem of their customer. And the better that you can solve a problem for the customer, the more you can charge, or the more repeat custom that you get, and therefore the better the business you have. So your business exists only to solve the problem for the customer. Your customer is going to come to you with a very specific problem. It may be as loose as, I just want to feel better. Or more than often, it is, I have pain in my back that is stopping me from doing X, Y, and Z. That's normally the problem that you're solving. So your patient really doesn't give a shit about chiropractic, to be frank. And they don't really care about this whole wellness thing that you're talking about. However, human beings love community. We are pack animals. We're designed to contribute towards the herd. Therefore, we love community and we want to be part of a community. So the best way that you can educate your patients is through community. You build a community that has events, has talks, has workshops in the language of your patients to guide them on a journey to where you want them to go in terms of their health. But that community always needs a leader. And the leader is the person who sets the example, and that is you as the chiropractor. So if you want your patients to get the message of well-being, of health, of chiropractic, you need to be the leader. Leaders do not lead by pushing. Leaders lead by setting an example. So this is the message that chiropractors don't like to hear. If you are not the example of health, well-being, fitness, then how do you expect your patients to take that message on and run with it for a lifetime? You have to set the example first. You have to solve the problem for the customer, build a community that they want to be a part of, and they will stay with you for a lifetime.
I guess it's like it's funny. I was listening to an audio of have you heard of Regular?
Zig Ziglar.
Zig, sorry, my bad.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah, Zig Ziglar. He was doing a talk and he was saying about it was talking about goals and it's really really good big audio actually talking about goal setting, and he was saying that if you go to your GP or doctor and they're overweight and they're giving you advice on losing weight, then you should probably basically run the opposite in the opposite direction. And it's very similar to, I guess, us as well. If we're not living a health style, if you're not living a healthy lifestyle, exercising, eating a healthy diet, plenty of water, sleep, looking after yourself mentally, then how are your patients ever going to benefit from that?
And getting adjusted.
Just
Like
and
there are
getting adjusted.
chiropractors
Yeah,
that don't get
absolutely.
adjusted, and they're recommending people to come in and get adjusted. It's like, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, education is a massive one. While we still have a little bit of time, communication was a big one I wanted to talk about because with especially throughout college or school, we're not really taught how to communicate with patients because we're taught all this different terminology, all this fancy medical words. And there's a point where I remember kind of talking about this to patients and everything just kind of just goes straight over their head. And you can see that, like, that blankness in their eyes. But it's only been recently where it's just like patients just don't care about that. So
No.
what can people do in order to improve their communication with patients?
Well, Einstein said something brilliant. He said, if you can't explain something simply, you don't know it well enough. And
Nice.
that translates to the patient. If you aren't explaining simply to them what is going on, they will perceive that you don't really know. And I like to give examples, say it in ways that people understand. I'm trying to think of an example for you straight off the
Yeah,
bat.
go for it. Yeah, no, go for it.
Um, simple things like I don't even show a patient a spine in a report of findings.
Mm.
I don't even show them the spine. It's too complicated. I'll put their X-ray on the screen and I'll draw a curve and then draw a line down theirs and say, that's normal, that's yours, what do you notice? And then they tell me. And the best way to deliver a report of findings is in a Socratic way. And essentially, you show them what's normal, show them their result, and ask them what they see. Get them to tell you what's going on. And every time you explain something simple, but really, the premise of it all is to say less. There was a great study done, and I don't know why it came about, but they were doing some interviewing of prisoners, and they found that those who lie say more. People who are liars say more.
Wow.
So you know if you've ever, for example, you've ever convinced your mate to go to the pub with you or something, or you convince them to go and play crazy golf,
Sure.
and they say yeah, and then you carry on talking about how great this crazy golf is going to be, and your friend ends up going, actually no, I'm busy tonight. You talk yourself into and out of the same situation. And the same is true when we're trying to explain something to patients. Oh, your pain here is because of this and this. I can help you. How long do you think it's going to take? Cool. Let's start now. Like, people don't need that fancy stuff. So long as you have put all the stuff in your notes, you've done the examination that you need, you've put the diagnosis that you need to put, because we need to do that if we're GCC registered, then you don't need to say all that stuff to your patient. Simply tell them what's going on in their terms, how long it's going to take, that you're going to review them along the process, and get going.
Simple.
Yeah.
I love that. That's good. Wow. That's so good. I love that. I love the how you put it in terms of the Socratic way of explaining things. I think that was beautifully said. Keeping things simple so that patients can understand how you can help them, and what they need to do going ahead is just the simplest way forward. So, thank you. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
What I want to do, just while we have a little bit of time left, because I don't want it kicking us out and cutting us off just towards the end. Unfortunately, I've learned that from mistakes in the past. So what I did, if people wanted to get in contact with you, if they want to listen to your podcast, if they want to follow you on social media, where's the best place to go?
So the best place on Facebook is Thomas Waller DC, or I do have a page, Tom Waller. Instagram's where I'm most active. That's at Dr. Tom Waller, at Dr. Tom Waller. We're just about to launch a brand new podcast called The Aligned Podcast. The Aligned Podcast, which I am so excited about. I hope it lives up as good as this one. But The Aligned Podcast, stay tuned for that. And then my website, ascchiro.com. That stands for Adjusting Skills and Certainty, ASCCHIRO, ascchiro.com, is where you can find out about the mentorship that I do, the one-on-one coaching, which is exclusive to a few people. I think I've got one space open at the moment. I don't know when this is going to go out, but always get in contact with me. And then my adjusting workshops that I run all around the world. We've got those released for this year as well.
Awesome. All right. I'll be sure to put that in the description so that everyone can follow the link to your page and also your podcast. With you, just with your aligned podcast, with you, do you have anyone like set up? Have you got? I guess you got plans in motion. Can you
So the
give
Align
away much
podcast
at the
is
moment?
it's really cool. So this one is it's personal development meets chiropractic. It's me and Lee, who's my design digital media guy. We've come together to collaborate to create a personal development chiropractic podcast. So if you really want to better yourself, listen to it. If you don't like to be told the truth, don't listen to it. It's going to be a really cool podcast, but we know my original podcast, the Tom Waller podcast, or ASC with Tom Waller, which is still live. They're all the old recordings of interviews and stuff that I've done in the past, which is some great stuff there. People want to check that out. But I've moved on from that now because someone like you, thank goodness, has filled that space for me. So well done for stepping up to the plate, my friend. I hope you get some amazing people on this. I'd love to introduce you to some more people to get on your podcast as well. So
Yeah,
I'll make sure to do that for you, Jack.
That's great. Thank you. When's your first episode out?
We are launching next week, which will be week commencing something like the second week in March. It will be, depending on when people are listening to this, and we'll be launching 5 episodes that week, and then weekly from thereafter.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh, I'm excited for that. I'll keep my eye out for it. So
thank you.
Perfect. I just want to say, Tom, thank you so much for your time today and all your knowledge and experience. I do really appreciate it. And I've no doubt that everyone who listens to this will definitely learn from it. So thank you.
Thank you for all you do. Thanks for doing this podcast. You are, as I said, changing more lives than you know. So well done.
Perfect. Thank you, Tom. All right. I'll let you carry on and enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, my friend. Take care, mate.
All right. Cheers, Tom. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye. Bye.